just lighting some incense to get started. So if you guys see that smoke, don't worry. It's nothing weird. Just my incense. Today's a green day. Old Dominion, life is short, make it sweet shirt. Got my jadeite necklace. I've got my Amazonite bracelet and earrings, and obviously my painting and some other crystals that I'm feeling green today. I also just wanted to remind you guys, I have aligned with this OtterSpirit. They sell bracelets and other items on their website, and I have a link in my box that gives you a discount. They only use higher grade gemstones and crystals, and a portion of their proceeds goes to the Wild Otter Foundation, and they are just lovely to work for. So, and every one of the bracelets it's tuned into a different chakra, different energy. So if you wanted to look at that, I love them. I'm adding them, all together. Like I said, my Green Day, not Green Day the band, but, and then I got my Labradorite. This helps me meditate, helps me get tuned into another plane, and that's here too. So today I'm going to answer a few questions. My brother's coming into town, and so I wanted to do this before he got here, my little baby brother who is 50. Anyway, somebody asked, I'm going to just read these real quick. Is Kamala giving up? Jean asked that. And several of you had mentioned Trump being at Notre Dame. I watched the video when he arrived with all the other presidents and dignitaries. And I know he was booed at one point. I saw Zelensky, which is very interesting. Zelensky came in, no suit, just his flak jacket, t-shirt, regular dude guy, which, he's in a war and he's acting like it. So, and then Trump was talking to Prince William. So I wanted to get into that conversation and see what was going on there. Macron and his wife, the president and his wife, First Lady of France, they are going to be cordial. They're going to be nice to the visitors. They're not going to make a scene. This is a big day for them. Notre Dame is being unveiled, the new version, the reconstruction. So that's why. So if you have any issues with them treating him differently, Trump, it's because they're being kind. They're being polite. And then somebody had asked about if there's any danger to Jack Smith, because he, Trump and his retribution, and he's going to arrest all of the people. He's going to take revenge and do all those things to the people that were against him. I look into that. Prosecuting, that's the word. Prosecuting. And this mass deportation. Is that happening? What does that look like? I know there's a czar, which I find interesting. It's a Russian word, but a czar of that. And I forget his name, but I'm going to do those things today. Hope you guys are doing well. Getting over some weird allergy situation, so I'm a little nasally today, but I love that you guys are here. Let's get started. Hello, my name is Diane. I forgot to mention that early on. This is ArtsyWisdom. If you haven't been here before, I see visions and images, and I try to decipher them. It's kind of all an experiment for entertainment purposes only. I tend to focus on current events or situations we're all experiencing, and sometimes it's politics, or a lot of times lately it's politics, but I also do other stuff. I have personal readings. It's in the box, and I also do little shorts here and there. Thank you. So is Kamala giving up? Now, when I meditated on her, I felt like recently I had seen her really angry with the Dems and Biden, and she's kind of taken a break. I know other readers, and I don't listen to everybody, but I have seen that she's working on something. I know she kind of may be working on something about the next time she runs, and they're investigating how the machines can be hacked. So that might be part of it. And I also think she is just needing to recalibrate. I just think she's angry, but she's also determined and she wants to fight. But it's almost like she's figuring out the next steps. I don't feel like she's waiting for this special thing to happen so she can. I would love it if I'm wrong. I'd love it if she took, the presidency and they find all these illegal things. But for right now, when I meditate and when I get into her energy and what it is today, I see like she's walking over all these little bumps, like sort of like if you had these stones in the road, but big ones like this, like cobblestones, more like cobblestones, but they're very rounded. And she's trying to maneuver her way over these, and she's having difficulties. And that just could symbolize all of the different problems or different issues she's having to navigate during this time. But I'm going to pull a couple cards on, is she giving up? When I get into her energy, I do feel like she's active right now. She's she's got paper, she's got pen, she's doing something at the desk or a desk. Kamala, are you giving up? From your perspective, are you giving up? Oh, the devil. These are my crow cards. Devil isn't always bad. It just means like chained to some addiction or ego thing or sensual thing or something that us humans get caught up in and then we can't let go of it, that have us chained, and I see the chain on the bird's trying to. The bird is holding down this big bird. Why am I getting the devil? Maybe it's because she feels like she's chained, and this devil or this attitude, or these voters that didn't vote for her, that didn't come out, or that listened to the Don the Con, she's stuck with that, unfortunately. Let me see. Page of Wands. So there's some news and Two of Wands. All right, so she feels a little trapped because of this, and that's the anger part of it. And I see this red and orange in the card, and I think of that as anger, the Mars anger. But there's going to be some news, or she's going to actually make a statement. That's the feeling I get, and I wouldn't have seen that normally, but I see the sun. I feel like she's going to make a statement in a different way. Not a concession statement, nothing like that, but there's something that she's going to talk about. And she's going to create, or she already has a plan with a partner. Is this about her personal? Wow, another Two of Swords. So Two of Wands, Two of Swords. So two things, two people, indecision or debating two things. So she does have a choice here, a serious choice on what she's going to say or do in the future. And then there's Ten of Wands. So she's taking it upon herself to deal with something. And maybe this is something with the fraud. And I've said this before. There was fraud in different areas. Most of the fraud came in the lies and the manipulation of the truth that the Trump campaign did all over the country. And it encouraged people to vote for him because he told them things that he thought were, that he said were real, which weren't. And so very, very destructive to our democracy. And so I think she found some things out, but it's not completely 100% fraud, which would flip the election. So I don't think she's given up. To answer the question to Jean, she's not giving up, but she's more focused on this new thing. I don't know what that is. It's a new thing that's come up, and she's navigating over these bumps. Her life is bumpy right now. Okay. Trump at Notre Dame. I was really surprised. I was watching that on YouTube, and everybody arriving one by one with the horrible rain in France and the rain. I think, they had during the Olympics, that opening ceremony, it was raining too. Just France hasn't been under a lot of rain lately. But yeah, Macron and his wife greeted everybody equally, it seemed to be. And Trump walked in leaning with his yellow tie, long yellow tie. Um, and I love seeing Zelensky there, and everybody else. It was a lovely thing to celebrate this church being renewed, and remade. Anyway, so let's see what the conversation was between Macron. I think it was polite. How did Trump feel when he was... Trump, how did you feel? He was annoyed by the rain, his hair. He was worried about his hair. And I feel like he had a lot of entourage around him, even though he came by himself. I felt like they were really giving him lots of talking points, even though he doesn't listen to them. I feel like they were giving him lots of talking points. And he was only minimally nice. He only did the minimum. He and just FYI, Elon Musk and him are gonna have a big blowout, and they're not gonna make it together. I don't know, within a month of the inauguration or next year or whatever, or maybe by the end of this year. That whole relationship, that bromance kind of thing, is not gonna last. They can't. Two very narcissistic people cannot be taking up the same oxygen. It just can't happen. So Trump, I feel like he just talked to Macron, but he didn't say. It was all like nothing serious. I don't feel like he said anything really of any value. Maybe like, oh yeah, we'll talk later. I got some ideas, kind of stuff, or whatever. I got some things we want to work on. And but what did he say to Prince William? And I know he said something. Him and Joe Biden sat on that same row, all in the front, and Prince William, a polite gentleman and a prince, he only was very polite, and he didn't say anything crazy. But I do feel Prince William, I've said this in a few videos like months and months ago, that he's wanting to emulate Prince Philip, his grandfather, more than the Queen, more than his own father. He saw Prince Philip as his mentor and his personification of what a man or somebody in royal service should be. And he listened to him, and he learned from him, and he wants to use him as he is using him as his example for the future. So Prince Philip would get mad quite often, and I think, but he would hold it together during ceremonies and different things. So I think that's what Prince William did, is, he's doing the right thing. He's still young-ish. And so he didn't go off on Trump, and he has to play the game. But what did Trump say? Oh, I think if I'm Trump, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at him as like he's a child. Not a child, but young and ignorant, kind of. And so Trump isn't saying anything, like he's not treating him as an equal or a peer. He's seeing him as just this guy that is in England that, is weak. That's what he looked at, William, as weak. But he will be wrong about that. And how did William? Now, if I'm getting into Prince William's energy, I feel like he's a little nervous. And I'm looking at Trump from his perspective. I feel like he's looking down. I'm looking at my hands. I'm not particularly, I don't want to say in control of this conversation, but I feel like I'm doing all I can, but I'm not initiating much. Maybe a little here and there, but I don't feel so. I feel like he looks at Trump and he looks like a slob in a way. Like he's gross. Maybe that's just this kind of not unkept, but like uncontrolled, because they are so in control. And he looks at him as like not necessarily a American ideal, more like the the worst kind of way of excess. Maybe that's it. It's somebody in excess. And William sees Trump, as he should be embarrassed. That's what he said. He feels like he should be embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I should be embarrassed of this weird hair going on. Let me take a sip of my rose tea. William. So I don't feel like they had much. So Trump and all these other dignitaries. Yeah, Trump came to the church, obviously, and they had the ceremony or the mass. I don't even know. I didn't remember. But he was, at one point, I feel Trump is feeling very powerful at one point while he's watching this. And he feels like he's important while he's there. I said this before, his brain is going. So he has moments of clarity and then he gets lost. But the people around him are really helping him. Yeah, he's feeling pretty powerful. And he feels like, and then he get bored. These are feeling happy. He's like, oh yeah, this is what I planned and we're all getting along and everything's pretty good. But then I'm going to be like bored and I need to leave. And I felt like that was him. Like he was like, all right, I did this. Now I need to go. I'm ready to leave. Because he has the patience of a gnat. Okay. Because his brain, him as a child, I know he was abused emotionally and probably physically. And he's a narcissist because of the lack of love in his childhood. And his father was horrible. So he didn't grow his brain didn't develop past those ages when he was a child. So he's like a 4-year-old. He needs to be entertained all the time. I need to, do things that feel good all the time, like an addict does. So he met with Zelensky. What did you say to Zelensky? Oh, I felt like he was, I want to say stern, but he didn't outright say we're cutting all your funding. But he wanted to make it clear to him that they're going to look at every penny. That I don't know yet. I keep hearing, he's like, we're figuring things out, or we're planning, we're making plans, we're setting up what we're doing. And he looks like he makes all the decisions. He feels like he makes all the decisions and the Congress doesn't. But Trump thinks that whatever I say goes, which he's created this environment where he does feel like they all listen to him and kiss his feet. But he doesn't realize that Congress has a lot to say in the matter. So he is telling Zelensky, we're going to look at everything. He kind of appeased him a little bit, but he also was telling him, but he was pretty stern. I feel like he was more stern with him, even though they probably both smiled and shook hands and took a picture. And I feel like he was much more stern with him. And I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think the image that he wanted to project to send to the Republicans or to the MAGA folks out there is that, look, I'm a hard ass, and I'm not going to let him take advantage of us anymore. That's the feeling I get, is he wants to promote that or project that or send those images out or tweets or whatever it is, or X's or True Socials, whatever they are. Yeah. And I know he was booed. It's awful because it makes him seem legitimate in the world. I'm sorry, people. I didn't say I was going to look into this, but I'm going to just touch back into that stuff in late December that he was doing, planning with this war room, his people, and they're trying to chip away of maybe it's about the prosecution now of the enemies list, or Jack Smith and all that. And they're planning, I do see that thing at the end of December disintegrating. So, and before I thought this dark thing was happening, I don't see it there much anymore. It's kind of there, but not like it was. So whatever they are doing is working at taking apart the block that was there. Will he prosecute his enemies? Will they be able to? There's going to be a group of Republicans that's going to build a committee that will try to put Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger isn't even in the Congress anymore because he resigned. So, but they're all going to have to submit their innocence through the Congress to say that they were selected to do this and it's all legitimate, but and they're going to question all the legitimacy of those committees that took him, impeached him, or, the January 6th indictments and all that. I do feel like they are going to try to create a hit list for sure. For sure. I see that. Will he be successful? No. 5 of Cups. So maybe a couple will go through, nobody's going to get indicted or prosecuted permanently or have to go to jail. But most of the stuff that they're doing isn't going to work out. But there may be a couple that they're going to highlight and say, look, see, he's the bad guy. They're the bad people, and I'm going to be prosecuted. And I've got the 8 of Wands, and it's going to go fast. So this is only a temporary thing they're going to work on. It's not going to linger. It's almost going to be a thing for show and to say, yeah, look at MAGA people. We're mad, and we're going to show you how the deep state is this, and we're going to take them over. So I do think they're going to try, but it's going to hit a wall. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything wrong, so you can't prosecute anybody who didn't do anything wrong. But you can hold them up and make a scene and make a lot of noise and make it look like it's something, but it's not. Somebody asked, is Jack Smith in danger? Going from the prosecution part. Well, is Jack Smith in danger? Oh, I got the same thing. That fell out. 5 of Cups. They're going to try to pin something on him. But the King of Cups, this is our Scorpio president we have right now, is Biden. He's going to protect him. He will put in place, I feel like he's going to put in place a blanket, I don't know if it's going to be a blanket pardon or some sort of resistance in the Department of Justice or in the presidential branch that, or make a statement or sign something that's going to release people in the Department of Justice from any guilt for prosecuting Trump in the first place, prosecuting the Don the Con, who's committed crimes like nobody else, but he has. Yeah, and it'll be good news, and it'll be good. So Biden is going to do that for Smith, and for all the other people that are higher up, there might be a few little ones that are going to be caught up. Just Liz Cheney got to mind. Oh, I've never been a fan of hers, but does she do the right thing? You have to give her credit for having courage. She committed political self-awareness, yeah, she's strong. She is so strong. And, she's got the lion heart of, a fighter, a warrior. It's good for her. Yeah, King of Cups. So I don't think Liz Cheney's it's not gonna get anywhere. She's just too tough, and there'll be too many Republicans, believe it or not, that are gonna fight that too. Because guess what? They could be next if they say anything. So even the Republicans in the Congress and Senate are not going to approve of his mass prosecution of all these people. They won't. There'll be a few that'll say yes, 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 but not that many. So I think that's going to be that. And Jack I saw in my last video that he is free. He feels freer to do. It's more about personal freedom that he's like, all right, he's got all this information. It's all set up. And he's going to make it available. And I almost feel like Biden is going to allow that to happen, even though Jack's hands are off of it. But through Biden, something is going to be released. It's more of a, oh, matter of fact, guess what? This is all made to be public right now. But I think Jack Smith has got it all laid out, all of the indictments, all the paperwork, and all his staff too. And it's there. And so I think Biden's actually going to release that before the inauguration. And that's some of that dark stuff that those guys are working on too, is to block that. That's what that's about too. I get that now. And I think that's the darkness that they're dismantling at the end of the year. All right, mass deportations. Wowzers. Why do I keep getting this Five of Cups card? I have got to see what this is going on. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me see if there's a word or two that I am not. He stands at the riverbank, consumed with loss and unable to find the path out of despair because his focus is directed only on what he has lost. He is unable to see the riches in his life. The Five of Cups suggests you move away from the mindset of lack, which I interpret as the anger and resentment that Don the Con feels, and look for areas in your life that are positive. I'll replace feelings of scarcity with gratitude. Well, that doesn't happen in that world. So, okay. Let's see about this mass deportation. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, and Syria. I didn't say it. I'll do another video on that one. I'm not completely informed about it, so I don't feel comfortable talking about it. All I can do is, like I see in the mood of places. This is about Syria. I was thinking about Syria. I realized as I'm thinking, Ace of Cups, beginning of emotional joy, happiness, lovely. This is like the Lovers. And the Queen of Swords, being wise and not emotional about the next steps, managing it well, and strength and being strong. This is great news for them, the Syrian people. They've been under that regime for whatever, 40, 50 years, I think. And I don't feel like, and the Lovers, again, these two are very similar. So they are creating an environment where they are, they also may have a partnership, but it's going to be really positive. They may even reach out to the United States to have this new, not regime, but new government, the rebels, to help them create a democracy. Interesting. And they have to be strong because terrorist groups, if there's a vacuum, they will fill it. Okay, back to the mass deportations. Okay, when I see the mass deportations, I see the river on the south border in Arizona and Texas and California, the west, and I see dirty food. I see food that is strewn on the, just trash. But I also see the food that people have left behind, diapers, clothing, little shoes, baby stuff, papers. And it's on that side. It's on the Mexican side. I love the Mexican president lady. She is so good. Sylvia. God, what's her? Oh, no, Claudia Sheinbaum, I think her name is. Yeah. She's a little feisty thing, so I'm happy about that. But when it comes to the mass deportations, he says he's going to get, not the parents of the people that are actually American citizens, he's going to deport them. How? How the hell is he going to do that? Is he going to go house to house and pick up people? I can't imagine that. I mean, he's done lots of things I couldn't have imagined before. But, okay, let me just look. And I get into people's energy and I get into a place. So when it comes to the mass deportations, he's handing it off to his immigration czar guy. And he's making plans. I do see this guy making plans, what they're going to do. I see cages. I see buildings, warehouses. But I also see lots of Amnesty International, people who are violating human rights internationally. I feel like that's what I'm seeing. They're violating a lot of human rights, not, just treating them very badly. I see a lot of people crying. And I think what's going to happen, I have to get out of my logical brain. I think certain states are going to push back, like California and Arizona are going to push back. Arizona is a Uranian state, or Aquarian state, so it's Uranus. Nobody likes to tell us what to do. Arizona, they like their freedom. And even though you don't agree, we like to do what we want to do. And I don't see that happening, them doing that. I do see them picking up some people. I do see some. But the violations of human rights are going to be so big and so much anger and so many protests all over. People, and they'll be, actually, I feel like some of the MAGA people are going to be fighting with the people protesting, because they want to see this happen. They want to see that violence. They want to see that hatred played out, because they feel sick inside, so they want to see it played out in real life. Sad that people want to see that. Some people just want to see others suffer. I think most people don't. I think most people are good and kind. And when you're a baby, you don't start that way. It just happens through life, and you accumulate that feeling depending on how you were raised. But I don't see it to actually they get deported. It's too complicated. I think what happens is the Mexican government doesn't allow people to be moved, and then we want to deport them, and so they're in this purgatory, and they're in this place of, where do we go, what do we do? So there'll be that. I feel like there's going to be a purgatory of limbo-ness, that Mexico won't accept some of them, maybe some, but maybe, they'll deport the criminals and that sort of thing. Not that a lot of these people are criminals, but they'll find evidence, they'll somehow make evidence. But there will be a problem. But it'll get stopped. They're going to start this big thing, and then it's going to be like when you see a movie when all these people are running and they're all kind of the stampede and they all fall all on top of each other, not killing anybody, but just kind of running into each other and tumbling together. That's the feeling I get, is like they're going to have a big push to start, and then it's just going to turn into this, mass tumbling of mess. And they won't be able to move forward, because this energy, you can move it forward out, you can get to be so far, and then beyond that, it doesn't go anywhere. So yes, there will be some, and then they're going to keep them. It'll be like some people will be in purgatory, like those children they took away. It'll be like that. Not that I'm talking about kids in general, but just a general purgatory. And then we have this King of Wands, King of Cups, King of Swords, 3 kings in a row, and then the 10 of Cups. So I'm interpreting this as a lot of macho-ness and a lot of leaders getting together and saying, wait, and they're going to be, nope, and we've got to come up with a strategy that's going to work. So even the president of Mexico, she's a woman, but she could be a man energy, she's very strong and willful. So, and then I've got the 10 of Cups after, family happiness. So there will be a discussion. They're going to start it. Okay, that's how I interpret this. Take it or leave it. They're going to start it. There will be a bunch. And the Western states will push to stop it. There'll be several states I'll say, nope, not in my backyard. Arizona and California, I think. I don't know about Texas. But I know Colorado said no way. Certain states will stop it. And all these governors, all these other countries too, because they have to communicate with the countries to deport them back to their original countries, are going to work together to one, they're going to come up with a strategy. One, to either let them come back or say, no, we'll help you with this process. Like we'll keep them here. The future immigrants, we'll keep them here somehow. Something like that. And some of the states are just going to say, nope, not in my backyard. And then we have the Ten of Cups, and that's family joy. That's happiness. I mean, you can interpret that as the United States being happier or families, but it feels like it's going to end ultimately positively. And they may actually sign that new immigration bill into law now that Trump would get credit for it and nobody else. And they'd get more judges. They would have more of a process and more funding. If that's the case that gets this there, so be it. And then we've got the Nine of Cups too. So things are going to look up. It's going to be a mess for a while. It's going to be the tangled mess of people rolling together and purgatory or limbo. Gosh. And one last thing. Let's see. What do you want people to know? All the angels and ancestors, our spiritual beings, God light, that is all around us. What do you want people to know? That the battle isn't over. We've worked really, really hard. And we're getting tired. But we have still a lot of fight in us. So that's what this is about. This is about it's not over yet. And, you know, it's the guy who's bandaged. He's a warrior. And he's still out there on the battlefield, and he's still working at it. But he's still got that desire in him. So that's where we're at. I feel like they're telling me to tell you that things are going to take some time. The Hangman is going to take some time, and we have to look at it from a different perspective, a spiritual perspective. Pluto has moved into Aquarius, hence the Syrian thing. Things are shifting. It's just a messy part as it's shifting. The energy is shifting to more of a populist thing, more of a people controlling our world instead of the rich. And the CEOs, all really symbolic. You know, that CEO who got shot. It's all very symbolic of the shift. All right, guys. Hope you're doing good. Till next time, take care.